Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And for our top story today, it is one that I have been tracking and watching since Friday. And of course, this information was revealed on Friday and over the weekend, of course, when it is the least amount of coverage on the mainstream media. And of course, hoping that it doesn't go viral. But this is very specific, and this is very indicative of what we talked about for quite some time. From the Washington Examiner. Durham says Democrat-allied tech executive spied on Trump's White House office. Special counsel John Durham says he is building a case to show the technology executive with whom an indicted Democrat lawyer on the payroll of Hillary Clinton's campaign was working to build a Trump-Russia collusion narrative, gained access to internet traffic at the White House to try and obtain dirt on former President Donald Trump. And as we all know, President Trump was talking about this quite often. The media, the establishment, Obama, and even Clinton all played it off, all dismissed it as Trump's paranoia or Trump's involved in some sort of conspiracy to demonstrate that they were after him for any particular reason. And all of this got played down, got dismissed, and of course made Trump look as foolish as possible. Left-wing lawyer Michael Sussman was indicted last year for allegedly concealing his clients, among them Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, from the FBI when he volunteered since-debunked claims of a secret back channel between the Trump Organization and Russia's Alpha Bank. Durham revealed in a Friday court filing that he has evidence that Sussman's other client, dubbed technology executive, but known to be former NurStar senior vice president Rodney Joffe, exploited domain name system internet traffic at a particular healthcare provider, which was likely Spectrum Health, Trump Tower, Trump's Central Park West apartment building, and the executive office of the President of the United States. That's right. Remember when Donald Trump was accusing the campaign, Hillary, and even Obama of spying on him, and they, of course, said it was a conspiracy theory, it was nonsense, it was ridiculous, it was Trump behaving like a juvenile child, and an oaf that they always perceived him to be, and of course with the backing of the establishment and the mainstream media, they wanted everyone to hate President Trump as much as they did, and of course they gave no credence, no credit, or even any sort of pursuit into what Donald Trump was suggesting. And as we see here from the dailymail.uk, Trump accuses Hillary Clinton campaign of treason after special counsel John Durham said they paid tech firm to hack into his White House and Trump Tower servers to find Russia links. That's absolutely true. So it only seems natural here. Donald Trump has furiously accused Hillary Clinton's election campaign of treason after a special counsel said her team had tried to spy on his White House servers in a bid to find ties to Russia to smear him with. Of course, we already know that's what they were doing, but because of these very high-stakes political games, they always try to keep the central person, Hillary Clinton, in the cushion and insurance of plausible deniability. So if it were successful that they were able to demonstrate that Trump was involved in Russia, then Hillary Clinton would get the credit. And then, of course, when it didn't work out and hadn't worked out, and now finding out that they had actually spied on Trump with evidence, with information, because the media always likes to say without evidence, or that President Trump was involved in a conspiracy, now we know that there is more and more activity concerning this. And that's why I wanted to wait until later into this week, which is Wednesday, February the 16th. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy promises a congressional investigation into Durham's claim Hillary's campaign spied if GOP takes the House, as Trump says there is even more to come. Now, of course, this is another reason why, for example, that Nancy Pelosi isn't going to retire. They see the polls. They see the Democrats are in big trouble. They've seen the recent elections where Republicans have taken office, particularly there in Virginia, for example, where they anticipated and worked very hard to make sure the Democrats stayed in office, but they didn't. It was Youngkin who ended up winning. So from here, you see GOP leader Kevin McCarthy vow to investigate a finding from special counsel Robert Durham that Hillary Clinton was linked to the origin of the Russian collusion probe if Republicans take back the House in November. Now, of course, we already know that the Democrats utilize and leverage the IRS as well as any other agencies like the FBI to go after their political enemies. And this is why the left is essentially become an authoritarian-based system of, or the way they act is very authoritarianism, and of course are using authoritarianism. And so we're seeing this more and more from them and utilizing to go after their political enemies. It's something the Republicans normally don't do. There's a joke that says if you give the liberals an inch, they'll take a mile, and if you give the Republicans an inch, or give Republicans a mile, they'll only take an inch. So you can see here that maybe when Trump gets into office, after having learned all the things that were used against him, he's definitely going to know that he's going to have to go based upon his own instinct, based upon his own gut instinctive reactions and experience to know that, he's not going to get fooled over again by all these individuals who claim to be part of his administration to help him in his aids. He's going to go off of what he knows, and of course he gained that knowledge after 4 years. So it's important to see this from the other side of the fence, right? So now you're seeing some of the articles that were written that showed more of what was going on as far as what Durham what Durham is outlining and what's being said about Durham. And now, of course, we get to see how the left plays it down. And like I told you, very similarly to when President Trump was talking about this, the media played it down. Now let's watch how Business Insider plays all this down. Listen to the wording very carefully. What you need to know about the John Durham filing that Trump world is fuming over. The right-wing media sphere erupted this week over a legal filing for the special counsel John Durham, who is investigating the origins of the FBI Russia probe. That former President Donald Trump and his allies said presented definitive proof that his political opponents illegally spied on him. Trump declared in a statement that the filing proved, indisputable evidence that my campaign and presidency were spied on by operatives paid by the Hillary Clinton campaign in an effort to develop a completely fabricated connection to Russia. And we already know all this already. Trump's claim that such activity would at any time in American history been punishable by death is overblown, since the only crime Durham has accused anyone of committing is lying to the FBI. Oh my goodness, just lying to the FBI. Nothing serious, everyone, just lying to the FBI. No one involved in the investigation has been charged with illegally spying on the Trump campaign or White House or with a capital crime. Of course not. And of course the mainstream media and all the Democrats and whatever investigative committees aren't going to be looking into this any further than what John Durham is going to be able to do. John Durham is not going to be able to go very far with this. This is going to just be something that Trump can utilize as a tool. But we already know what the Democrats have already done because we've seen it. Remember? A key source for the famous Trump-Russian dossier is charged with lying to the FBI. That's right. It's right. Igor Danchenko was taken into custody Thursday morning as part of a special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the FBI's Trump-Russia probe. So we already know that Democrats have already been arrested and there's already been a lot of problems. So you would tie this in with this and you would think it would be all over mainstream social media. It would be all over mainstream media, but it's not. Again, BBC News, Mueller report. Trump cleared of conspiracy with Russia. That's right. U.S. President Donald Trump campaign did not conspire with Russia during the 2016 election, a summary of special counsel Robert Mueller's report says. But yet, they still continue with this Russia narrative. They are still continuing with this Russia narrative. The mainstream media, MSNBC, CNBC, all of these businesses, CNN, all suggested to everyone that President Trump was part of a Russian collusion, and it never happened. Mueller report finds no evidence of Russian collusion, as we have always covered. So, I see this as just a way for, maybe those on the right to get a little excited about this. But at the same time, the left is not particularly concerned because if they're not concerned about lying to the FBI, they're most certainly not concerned about what John Durham is going to be able to do, much less a special counsel. The only time you're going to see this move forward is if if the Republicans and or even if Donald Trump gets into office, then you may see some kind of tippet investigations, but nothing will really move forward because you're not going to indict a former Secretary of State. You're not going to indict a Clinton. You're not going to indict any Clinton or Hillary herself. So at best, all you can do is do exactly what they do to Trump, is just demonstrate and illustrate with evidence, actual evidence, tangible, substantive evidence that they did do something and Donald Trump ended up not being the one who was paranoid and engaged in a conspiracy when in fact they were pursuing him. So this has been one of the biggest stories that I've been keeping an eye on. You would think it would be all over mainstream media and even trending on social media, but of course it's not, because it is an allegation towards the Democrat, a very inflammatory accusation, and one that has been backed up with evidence, as John Durham is able to present, but unfortunately it's probably not going to go very far. For all you guys here watching this on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute, I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support. You have been amazing, particularly with these particular stories throughout the week that I do during the week. I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support and the follows on those platforms. And of course, all of you here on YouTube, thank you to all of you guys. Even my old school followers, I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support. And appearing right there on the screen, that would be the channel icon to subscribe to the channel. Of course, that way you can click on that and subscribe if you're here on YouTube. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.